ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वत स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तन हृदयन्तस्तु भद्राणि विदुनोति सुरेततं नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, Text 8, 8 to 10. Bana Vibho Bhagavataha Shatapatra Prapo Shanta Vapunkaraha Chichiravati Tigma Danto Kasme Yuyu Akshasi Vane Vicharanna Vipna Shemaya no Jadiyam Tava Vikramostu. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Synonyms by Srila Prabhupada. Bano, two arrows. Imo, this Bhagavata of you, the most powerful. Shata Patra Patro, having fall, having feathers like the petals of a lotus flower. Shanto, peaceful. Apunkha, without a shaft. Ruchiro, very beautiful. Ati Tigma Danto, having a very sharp point. Kasmai, whom Yuyun Shasi, you want to pierce. Vane, in the forest. Vicharan, loitering. Na, with Maha, we cannot understand. Shemaya, for welfare. Na, of us. Jada Dhiyam, who are dull-headed. Tava, your. Vikrama, prowess. Astu, maybe. Translation. Put by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then Agnidhira observed the glancing eyes of Purvachitti and said, My dear friend, you have two very powerful arrows, namely your glancing eyes. Those arrows have feathers like petals of lotus flower. Although they have no shafts, they are very beautiful and they have very sharp piercing points. They appear very peaceful, and thus it seems that they will not be shot at anyone. You must be loitering in this forest to shoot those arrows at someone, but I cannot understand whom. My intelligence is dull, and I cannot combat you. Indeed, no one can equal you in the prowess. Therefore, I pray that your prowess will be for my good fortune. Purport. Agnidhir thus began appreciating Purvachitti's powerful glance upon him. He compared her glancing eyes to very sharp arrows. Although her eyes were as beautiful as lotuses, they were simultaneously like sharp-glass arrows, and Agnidhir was therefore afraid of them. He hoped that her glances upon him would be favorable because he was already captivated, and the more captivated he became, the more impossible it would be for him to remain without her. Agnidhir therefore prayed to Purvachitti that her glances at him would be auspicious, not futile. In other words, he prayed that she would become his wife. Text 9. शिष्या इमे भगवतः परित्रः पथने पठन्ति गायन्ति साम सहर्षम्य अजाश्रम इशम युष्माक चिक्का विलोलितः सुमनो विवर्षितः सर्वे भजन्ति ऋषिगण इव वेद साकः. Synonym by Srila Prabhupada. Shishya, disciples or followers, ime, these Bhagavata of your worshipable self, Varita, surrounding, Vathanti are residing, Gayanti are singing, Sam, the Samaveda, Sa Rahasyam, with the confidential portion, Ajashram, incessantly, Isham unto the Lord, Yushyam, your, Shikha, from the branches of hair, Vilolita, fallen, Sumanaha, of flowers, Abhivarshit Sthiha, showers, Sarve, all, Bhajanti, enjoy, resort to, Rashigana, sages, Iva, like Veda, Sakha, branches of Vedic literature. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Seeing the bumblebees following Purvachitti, Maharaj Agnidhir said, My dear Lord, The bumblebees surrounding your body are like disciples surrounding your worshipable self. They're incessantly chanting the mantras of the Samvedas and Upanishads, thus offering prayers to you, just as great sages resort to the branches of Vedic literatures. The bumblebees are enjoying the showers of your flowers falling from your hair. Text 10. वाचं परं चरणा पाञ्जर तित्तिरे नामं ब्रह्मन् अरूप मुखराम सर्व श्रवणं तुभ्यं लब्धा कदम्बारुचिर अंक विटांक बिंबे यश्यम यश्याम अलात् परिधिः क्व च वल्कलम् ते synonym and synonym by Srila Prabhupada. Vacham, resounding vibration. Param, only. Charana, Panjara, of the ankle bells. Titiri Nam, of the Titiri words. Brahman, of Brahmana. Arupa, without form. Mukharam, able to be very distinctly heard. Shravana, I hear. Tubhyam, your. Labda, gotten. Kadamba, like the Kadamba flower. Ruchi, lovely color. Anka Vitanka Bimbe, on the beautiful circular heaps. Yasyam, on which. Alat Paridihi, encirclement of burning cinders. Qua, where. Cha, also. Volkalam, covering cloth. Take your translation. O Brahman, I can simply hear the tinkling of your ankle bells. Within those bells, titiri birds seem to be chirping among our themselves. Although I do not see that forms, I can hear how they are chirping. When I look at your beautiful circular hips, I see they are the lovely color of kadamba flowers, and your waist is encircled by belt of burning cinders. Indeed, you seem to have forgotten to dress yourself. Purport. With a lusty desires to see Purvachitti and Nidhir, especially gazed upon the girl's attractive hips and waist. When a man looks upon a woman with such a lusty desires, he is captivated by her face, her breasts, and her waist. For a woman, first attracts a man to fulfill his sex desires by the beautiful features of her face, by the beautiful slope of her breasts, and also by her waist. Purvachitti was dressed in fine yellow silk, and therefore her hips looked like a kadamba of flowers. Because of her belt, her waist seemed to be encircled by burning cinders. She was fully dressed, but Nidhir had become so lusty that he asked, "Why have you not come? Why have you come naked?" Nama Om Vishnupadaaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Stivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Assembled Vaishnavas, for giving me this opportunity to speak for my own purification. I will summarize verses by from the purport by Srila Prabhupada and a commentary by Veer Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Please forgive my if I add my own meaning or interpretation to this. So here in this chapter, we are hearing about King Agnidhir, who for the expansion of family life is doing some penances. Lord Brahma has sent Apsara with the Chitti. So Srimad Bhagavatam has a various story who clearly explain through examples. Right, we have a story of a Kardama Muni, Prachetas, and now King Agnidhira, who all had in the beginning same motive, that before they start or enter into the family life, they did a lot of penances to purify themselves. Uh, each of them have started journey similarly, but how they handle the journey afterwards, they determine their destination. So Kardama Muni, he did the penances for 10,000 years with the desire to get son, for like Lord Vishnu, right? And then he got married to the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. Similarly, Prachetas, before entering a family life, they also went through the penance for like thousands of years, and then they also got married to uh, uh, another daughter of Apsara. And then here, King Agnidhira also similarly doing a lot of penances, and that's why he also got Purvachitti sent by Lord Brahma for us to become his wife. However, Gardama Muni, like he by consciousness, he was devotee, same as Prachetas. So they did not get attracted or attached to their wife after they got married, even though their wives were also as beautiful. And then finally, if we see their destination was to reach the supreme goal or supreme lord. Versus here, King Agnidhira will see that even though his intention and initial act was to do penances to start the family life and get, but he gets so lusty and he was so entangled by the lusty desires that we'll see at the end of the chapter that his destination was different than the other two devotees. So it's very important lesson for us as well that how we conduct our life, and even though we start with the right intention but we need to be very careful of how we progress in. So even the intentions are pure, but if we don't see through, then we will also will get entangled into this material life, or maybe reach to a wrong destination. We have seen example of the uh, so there are four things exist in all these animals, right? There are four tendencies: ahar, nindra, bhaya, and matthew. And Srila Prabhupada explains that sexual desire is not merely a biological function, but a central is a pivot for material existence, often termed as a Gramya Dharma. It is a primary cause of soul's entrapment in a cycle of birth and death, forcing the living entity to transmigrate through various species to satisfy this urge. And this desire is all pervading and affecting not only humans and animals, but even the demigods in the higher planetary system. We have seen that example of Indra, who came to Earth to consume Ahalya, who was a wife of Gautama Rishi. Although Indra has the damsels like Menaka, Rambha, Urvashi, who are so beautiful that they could shake the faith of the some great sages like Vishwamitra and others. So here we should understand that we, even though person may have a highest form of sense gratification available to satisfy their lust desires, but that's not enough because lust desires are like a fire, and the more you try to satisfy, the more you are adding a petrol to the fire, and it will fuel more and more, and it will burn everything. So we have to be very careful how we handle those desires. Right? True human civilization is defined not by the expansion of sexual license, but by the gradual regulation and ultimate cessation of this desire through the stages of life, especially brahmacharya, grahastha, vanprastha, and sannyasa. That's why the varnashram dharma was created, so that people can understand the goal of life at every stage of life. Um, and they can uh, act in a controlled manner, not like just an animals who have like who likes to uh, uncontrollably satisfy their desires. So artificial suppression is not good enough, right? One can only conquer their sex desire by experiencing the highest taste of Krishna consciousness. And the tricky part about the desires are that even though somebody who is not exposed to some of the different things, right, they still have these desires are already there in our consciousness. So we have to be very careful because somebody says like, what if somebody don't have eyes? Or have not heard about that. We have seen in Ramayana an example of a Shringi Rishi. He never saw a woman in his life, but um, as soon as a woman came to his in front of him, he got attracted to her, and then eventually they he he came out from the rishi ashram, and he married to a woman. So this desires, how do we become from aloof from the same subject, right? Not only for man or woman, but also different organs has a sense objects like ears, eyes, and things like that. So Maharaj, like even when birds are chirping, actually they are asking question on eating or mating with a female, right? We feel our birds are chirping so nicely, but actually in their chirping also there are calls about eating, mating, sleeping, and defending only. So Srimad Bhagavatam says that everybody is asking question around eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Um, so when we are attracted to different objects for sense gratification, but how do you become detached from them or this body? One of the basic laws of Krishna consciousness is attachment to this body. But how do we give up the attachment to this body? It is impossible to give it up. However, it is possible as to attach to something else, right? So every time, like we can say something negative, it may not work. Like if you ask brahmachari, like, hey, do not get attached to a body or other things, it doesn't work. The way we can become detached is by attached to a pleasing spiritual master, holy name, pleasing devotees, or going for the higher taste. So our attachments are transformed by attaching ourselves to the higher taste. We can spiritualize our material attachment. Like if you are attached to your children, raise them as a Krishna consciousness children, right? So even though attachment to a small thing can keep us in a small material world, Prabhupada used to say that. So each and every relation we need to analyze and whether it is bringing us down or up in our Krishna consciousness, right? It is said that even material attachment of spiritual masters to his disciples can bring him down. So you can have any relationship in virtual way, but if you do not have a spiritual consciousness and make the spiritual relationship to material relationship, then there is always a way for us to fall down and come back in this material path. So that's why um, uh, our goal is eventually to reach to the stage of connecting with spiritually, and that's the ultimate stage of detachment. So every stage we need to look at ourselves and say, like, are we getting too attached, or um, are we really detaching ourselves through spiritual consciousness, right? So here, like even the King Agnidhira, we know who they are in contact with. Still, they were attracted, and it tells that the inherent nature of material world is one doesn't need to be educated in on a lust; it's natural. So same way, Krishna consciousness is natural to us as well. It's there in our heart, and all we have to do is just awaken it. Now, it's not artificial position of mind; it is already there. So while we preaching, we expose people to Krishna Prasadam, Kirtan, and that, even though they don't know, but it will still wake up the Krishna consciousness in them. So, Srila Prabhupada simply chanted in New York, and though people were intoxicated, they woke up and attracted to him. So, everyone is a naturally devotee as well. It's just matter of exposing them the Krishna consciousness in the right way. So we also should strive ourselves to uh, embrace Krishna consciousness in our life as well as the one around us. We should share the Krishna consciousness so everybody can elevate themselves and become spiritually conscious. With this, I would like to conclude the summary. Please forgive me if I add my own interpretation to this. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu eva cha